We're live. Okay, welcome, Thomas Anderson, CEO and founder of Literary Titan.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Wonderful to see you here today. And for our audience, there's a chat. So if you've got any questions for Thomas, just put them there in the chat and I'll read them out and we can deal with it. So Thomas, here I sit in Perth in Western Australia, 11:30 in the morning on Friday the 3rd of March, and you're in Irvine, California, 7:30 p.m. yesterday.
I know, you're living in the future. It's nighttime for me, it's morning time for you. Hey, how's the future treating you?
Hot. It's warm here today. That's not having. Normally I do these in the evening. I have a whiskey. Now I got ice water to keep myself a bit chilled.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's it over there today?
Oh, it's great. It's unusually cold here. I live in California, and there's some wet stuff coming out of the sky. What is that? Oh, somebody told me yesterday it was rain. I believe them. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's usually very warm here.
Something about rain in Southern California.
Yeah, it's usually hot and dry here in Southern California.
Yeah. So so tell us a bit about yourself, right? We're going to lead up. You're born and raised in Irvine.
Yeah, well, born and raised in Southern California, all different parts of Southern California. When I graduated high school, I went to the Army because I didn't feel like I was smart enough for college. So after spending about 4 years in the Army, I got sent to Iraq for 12 months where I conducted more than 50 combat operations. And after that time, I decided, you know what, let me give college a try. So I went to college. I got a degree in computer engineering, and then I got out into the real world and got a job. But then I got really into writing and being creative. So I wrote my first book, and I published it, and I was looking for somebody to review it, interview me, and create some marketing assets for me, something I can use to market my book. It was either non-existent or very difficult to get or very expensive. So that's when I started Literary Titan. I started Literary Titan about 10 years ago now in 2013. Yep, it would be 10 years. And it started actually as just a regular old book review blog. And if you came to me in 2013 when I had started this, I was actually called the Hungry Monster Book Review. So you may see some content out there.
The Hungry Monster Book Review.
Yeah, I needed something that was like catchy and funny, and I thought Hungry Monster Book Review would fit because it was like it fit my personality type, right? I think somebody had mentioned to me once something like that, like I was a hungry monster just gobbling up books. So that was my icon, was like this cute hungry monster like eating all these books because I was just consuming so much literature. But then I decided to go, more professional, more mainstream, and I started hiring staff, and that's when we changed it to Literary Titan to be more professional. So we've been Literary Titan now for, I think, like 6 or 7 years. I'm still here. I've got a much larger staff now, which is weird to say. And we're still doing book reviews, but we've expanded since then. So in 2013, I was just doing book reviews myself. And then we've added services slowly over the years. Now we do book trailers, we do press releases, we write query letters, all kinds of great things. And, with our book review service, we do book review, author interview, we do Literary Titan book awards that come out every month. Everything is designed to create marketing assets for authors to use to market their book, right? Mike, you're an author yourself. You know how hard it is to not just go out and tell people, hey, buy my book because it's super cool and interesting and you'll love it, right? You can't just tell them that every day. You need a way to talk about your book without talking about your book. And the way you do that is through getting a very good editorial review, which you get through Literary Titan. And then you get an author interview, you get the book award. Every step of that process, you can then put out on social media or any of your other platforms. You can email it to your email list and say, hey, look at this cool thing I did with Literary Titan, but it also happens to mention your book.
Just step back to the beginning. So when you started the Monster book review company, when were you doing all of the reviews yourself?
I was doing all of the reviews myself, and I was doing them for free.
For free. Okay.
Yeah. So I did it for free for a very long time. And then, things like snowballed very quickly. Like I said, I started getting some books in, I started getting a lot of books in, and then I had to uh, figure out how to give people the same quality of reviews and service, but at a much, or I guess, much larger volume. Um, so, I mean, my role as editor in chief here at Literary Titan is more of like a, s- a coordinator, project manager, staff manager. I'm managing a large staff now. My managing editor is fantastic. I have an assistant editor now. And we all work together to, again, make sure we bring the highest quality possible to every single review.
Now, how did you, how many book reviewers do you have now?
Oh, well, writers, reviewers, readers, we probably have like a staff of 100.
And
It's
do they sort of focus on genres or what?
Yeah, and that's the key. And I think that's why we have so many different writers, reviewers, is because we try to give every book to a reader that enjoys that genre, right? So that was one of my struggles when I wrote and published my first book, was finding somebody that would review my book that liked my genre. So I write science fiction, and finding a science fiction reviewer is kind of hard. Like, there's some out there, but because there's very few, they get a lot of requests. They might pass me up. There's a lot of, let's say, romance readers out there that have blogs. I would reach out to them, but they're not my target audience. So they would read it and then give me a bad review just because they didn't like, all the military action and whatnot. Um, so it's very important to make sure that we give you a review from somebody who enjoys your genre. And that's why we have such a large staff. So that way I can give it to the right person without making them feel like they're rushed, right? We deliver all reviews within 45 days. And that gives us enough time to find the right reviewer, get it read properly, write the review. The review even goes through like a review of itself and edit it and make sure that everything sounds nice and is engaging and marketable. So there's a whole process that goes behind that. And that's why we have so many on staff. Luckily, I have a managing editor, and she has to deal with that.
That's a lot to do. I mean, your reviewers have reviewed my books and been very kind to me. I say thank you.
Yeah. No, we have not been kind to you. You have been kind to us, sir. You have given us 3 fantastic books. Is
Well, thank
anybody
you.
watching this? Go grab Mike's books right now because they are fantastic, very
Okay.
engaging, very thrilling. And I want to thank you for sending us your books. They're fantastic.
Thank you. And as while we're advertising other people, my books are published by Karen McDermott of MMH Press. And when we finish, folks, when we finish this video will be up on my Facebook page and on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you type in Mike Mackay interviews Thomas Anderson, ta-da, it'll pop up, and there you'll see it. But what I wanted to ask you is, because writing and doing and getting the reviews back has been kind of kept me busy. At the end of the review, there's that thing down the bottom where you have like about 4 or 5 questions, and then we fill them in and we give them back to you. You do something with Amazon with it. I know it's written down, but I'm never been clear what actually happens there.
Yeah. Well, when the review is posted, we link your review page on our website to your Amazon book page so that whenever our readers see the post, they can read it, and then they click the link, they go directly to your Amazon book page. The author interview is posted separately and at a different time, and that is also linked to your Amazon book page. We embed your Amazon book in our website, so that way readers can actually read your book right here on our website. They can start reading the first few pages if you make that available on Amazon once you publish there, and then they can click the buy button and go buy it. So we separate the book review and interview for a reason. It's so that we give you a longer exposure time online, right? So again, that idea of going out and telling people these cool things are happening to you and your book. The first one is the review. So now you can spend your time going out on social media, quoting our review, telling people to go check out the review, go check out your book. And then after that hype has died down, right, then you get your interview. And then you can go out and tell people about your interview. You can quote that on your social media posts. You can email that to your email subscribers. And then the next month, you're entered for the Literary Titan Book Award. And that is another thing you can talk about. And the reason why we separate all of that out, again, is just to give you more exposure over a longer period of time.
No, I'm still not clear how you actually got into it, because to me personally, I find the whole, as a writer, the whole social media thing and getting your stuff out and which way should you post it and what works. I find every time I start looking at it, I choke and I think, shouldn't I be spending my time writing a book? Right.
That's right. You should be. It's a really weird state to be a writer, right? Or an author, a published author, especially because you get good at your craft, right? You're good at writing, creating engaging characters, interesting storylines, mysteries. You're great at all of that. But now you have to turn around and be a great marketer. You have to write great marketing content, like you're selling something to sell. You know what I mean? It's very strange, like 180-degree turn. Not everybody's great at it. But at every step of the way, you always need help, right? Even when you're writing, you need help. You got your beta readers, you got people reading your book, giving you feedback, you got your editors. It really takes a village, right? So marketing your book is the same way. It takes a village of people to help you accomplish that. You could have somebody help create a marketing plan for you. That's a critical step, creating a marketing plan, right? But within that marketing plan, you need tools, kind of like you need tools in your tool belt. And you need to be able to whip them out whenever you need it. That's why we write press releases. That's why we write the editorial reviews and author interviews. And we even make book trailers, right? So all of these things are assets, tools in your marketing tool belt that you can whip out and use whenever you need to sell your book and help you be a great seller.
But I find I have like a lot of experts like talking into my ear all the time saying, you got to have a website. Okay, tick. You got to have a Facebook page.
Check the box.
Up every 5 minutes. Tick. Oh, I'm not keeping up with that one. You got to use TikTok. You got to use this. You got to use that. And I think maybe I should be writing, and then you don't know which one is the silver bullet that will actually sell.
Yeah, I wish the silver bullet was the same for everybody. It's not that I wish I knew what the silver bullet was, right? I think a lot of people that have been in the writing game for a long time know what the silver bullets, plural, are, but they're always different for everybody. But the key comes down to finding your audience and then making sure your audience is aware of your book and making the best content possible. It's easy to say, very difficult to pull off. A lot of it is just hard work, right? You got to get out. You got to do these interviews with Mike. And you got to get on more podcasts and you got to get more bloggers to review your content. It's all about exposure and getting out there and getting your name out there, making people aware. It's very difficult. It's different for everybody.
Yeah, we must actually tell all your indie authors who you have. I'm quite happy to do this. I do this for free. It's like it's a philanthropic service. There we go. That's
it's a way that you get to talk to interesting people all the time, right? That's what I love about this job too. Like, it's weird because I love doing this because I get to talk to so many interesting authors and creative people every single day. And if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be able to talk to somebody that's in Perth, Australia right now.
Now, I found in doing these interviews and sort of figured out now a bit about the person, and then suddenly they'll like drop a bombshell. Something they go, whoa, hang on.
Yeah. What? There's so many fascinating people out there that kind of expands your worldview. And as authors, it's fantastic, right? Mike, you probably have plenty of content now for new characters you're surely going to put in book 4.
Taking notes, notepad all the time. I think, oh, that could work.
Yes, you're going in my book, and I'm going to put you in a situation where you must die.
Oh, you've read that page, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So they just expand. So that's. So do you foresee that I mean, as you come to terms with all the different social media things and with your firm, your company, try and utilize them as best you can. You still better like be perpetually on the lookout for what's the what's the latest social media thing that's popping up, and is there one?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, we've
Is
always got to be on our toes. The latest and greatest that we're talking about now is TikTok. How do we get more engagement on TikTok? How do we produce content for authors on TikTok? And that's why we started offering videos in 4:5 format. So we did book trailers for a very long time, 16:9 format for YouTube. Everything works perfectly. But now we have a new platform that we all have to learn and get used to. So we started creating 4:5 book trailer formats, which is the size of your phone when you hold it straight up. And it looks fantastic on TikTok. And we try to make it as easy as possible for authors, right? Not every author has a TikTok platform or a TikTok account. Not every author has a YouTube account. And that's really why we have a TikTok account, a YouTube account, an Instagram account. It's just so that we could put our content out there for them, right? So you and I have YouTube accounts, but not everybody does, and not everybody wants to, right? They just need their video somewhere that's accessible by everyone. That happens to be YouTube. So we created our own YouTube channel so that way we can post the videos on there for them. The video description looks very nice. The video description also links to their book on Amazon. We have a very nice looking thumbnail on there for every video. We put it on there for them. So that way all they have to do is link people to the video on YouTube and they watch their cool book trailer, right? So absolutely everything we design is just customer focused. How do we make it super simple for people? So we started TikTok just so that we can get our videos on TikTok for the authors. Not every author has a TikTok account, but they want to be there and we want to help them be there. So we put their book trailers on TikTok for them.
Yeah. So, but each of these platforms have got a different presentation of the content. So if you go back to your Facebook page, you sort of put stuff up there, and I went here, and a bit of text, and blah blah, and a bit static. But if you go to your author page, it could be even more static. But things like TikTok are like super duper busy.
Yeah.
And it's got a habit of like, you think, oh, I'll watch something or other, and then next minute you think I'll go back and watch it, but you can't find it, and all this other stuff.
Where was that cute dog video I was watching? Bring it back. Bring the dogs back.
Yeah, you can never find it again. And then tomorrow, you're doing something, and boom, there it is again.
Yep.
But how do you figure out I guess it's the pace I find difficult to figure out if you even to think about the marketing of which one to use. I mean, I know a lot of youngsters who actually use TikTok who don't have a TikTok account. They just watch it all the time.
Yeah, they just watch it all the time, which is perfectly fine. So on TikTok, and much like YouTube, book trailers are perfect, right? Because every one of our book trailers is less than 60 seconds because that makes it short and very engaging, right? Which happens to be perfect for TikTok, as you said, right? You're just continuously scrolling. And our book trailers are designed to be very engaging and stands out. They come with voiceovers if you want it, but if not, we have text overlays, and we design all of that to make sure we fit in that format. And it's very short, so it also fits in that scrolling format as well. And YouTube works perfectly as well because YouTube now has a format just like TikTok, where they do the 4:5 formats or 9:16 formats of that video. So you can really use that book trailer that we make anywhere.
So do you foresee that like Facebook and YouTube, because of the influence of TikTok, because let's say TikTok's very addictive to people. I notice once they get onto it, it's like there's a squirrel, there's another squirrel, there's another squirrel. They keep like looking at, because it's the time duration. I read somewhere that our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and TikTok seems to cater to that. You know that thing.
Yeah.
So you see, like what you do on Facebook and what you do on YouTube is going to shrink to
Yeah.
well, for that audience.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so, with that shrinking attention span, how do you capture people's attention, one, but also have them take an action, right? And the action in this case is buying your book. So, you have to get them interested. They're continuously scrolling. You have to get them to stop scrolling. How do you do that, especially on TikTok, right? You could be like every other book talker on there and just show your cover of your book and then they keep scrolling, right? You need something more than you just showing your book cover on TikTok to get them to stop scrolling, click on it, and go to your book on Amazon and buy it. Book trailer is a great way to do that because it's very splashy, grabs people's attention. They'll scroll and they'll stop and be like, wait, what's going on here? Is that a book trailer? Or YouTube's the same way, right? People will watch YouTube videos for about 5 to 10 seconds usually before they hit that skip button, right? So how do you get them engaged long enough to stop, consume the content, and then take action right after that? Book trailer, again, is a great way to do that because it gives everything they need in that short 60-second format. Usually our videos are usually between 40 and 60 seconds. Everything they need is in that short format, and then they can decide to take action after that. So we try to work within the bounds, but man, TikTok is very addictive. So if you have not done this, Mike, I would suggest going to TikTok and following like book talkers and stuff. It's people that just talk about books all day. It's very entertaining. I follow a lot of authors, a lot of book talkers, and my Instagram, or I'm sorry, my TikTok feed is just full of people talking about books in lots of different and creative ways. And every time I see somebody doing something new and creative and different with books, I have to email my managing editor and say, "Hey, look at this. How can we do this?"
So would you be able to advise people as to what they should hashtag on their I mean, I'm very simple. I just go hashtag book talk, hashtag crime writer, hashtag thriller writer. That's it. I look at it and go, no, that's pretty boring. But you know,
No,
I
yeah.
don't know. I mean,
I would
if
give
somebody
you,
writes romance novels, you know,
yeah.
you have
So
to
I would
advise.
give you two pieces of advice. The first one is max out your hashtags, right? So you said you use 3 hashtags. I would say you have a limit on there. I forget what the limit is. Very short, though. It's like 150 characters, something like that. Use all of those characters to create hashtags, right? You should have your book title in the very beginning. And then after that should be hashtags, right? Because the hashtag is how you end up in people's feeds, what types of feeds you end up. So use all the hashtags. The second piece of advice is, Mike, you probably shouldn't be using thriller writer, or what was the other one you were saying?
Crime writer.
Crime writer,
Crime.
right? Because what happens is you end up in the feeds of just writers and authors, but really you want to end up in the feeds of readers. You want people that'll read your book. So
Yes.
thriller books, crime fiction, crime thriller, mystery books, mystery novels. All of those are hashtags you could be using to reach readers that are looking for that kind of content, right, on TikTok.
How did you figure all this out? How did you
So
how did
I'm gonna give the viewers a kind of behind the scenes view of what you were doing here, Mike, and tell them that we had a couple of conversations before this. And the
you,
first time we talked, I had to tell you, oh man, I'm kind of spacey because I am all over the place. If something catches my interest, I will learn about it. I will spend days, weeks learning about it. So when I wanted to learn about TikTok, I was reading articles, I bought books, I watched YouTube videos. I was just consumed with how to do this. And every time I find something that's fascinating to me, I have to just absorb myself in it, which is drives my wife nuts because I will be up late at night, like in bed, she's falling asleep, and I'm scrolling on my phone. She's like, "Are you on TikTok or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm reading this book right now about how to best use hashtags on TikTok." She's like, "You're crazy. Go to bed. It's 1 in the morning." But I can't because I'm just so interested in like learning new things, right? And I have zero time during the day because I'm usually doing like 50 things at once. And but I love it. If I'm left alone, my thoughts, I would go crazy.
That's yeah to do. So just by the way, that blue background you got there, is that one of those artificial backgrounds, or what is that?
Yeah, so this is like my recording studio, and this
Oh,
background is actually just a gray piece of paper. And then what I have down here is a LED light that can produce any color I want. And I shoot the light onto the background, which makes it look kind of interesting without needing like some kind of super complex background. So again,
uh,
that's the same thing, right? I wanted to produce content for YouTube, and I spent weeks just being absorbed with how to produce the best content, best lighting, best camera, best like setup. You need distance to create like that background effect where it's kind of blurry back there. It's there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm always surprised. I'm always fascinated.
well, I think like maybe that interest is how you sort of started this whole business. I mean, you'd have to be. I mean, my background, as you know, is in with computer science, but I wouldn't do what you do. I mean, let's talk about TikTok. I look at it, and then I got all these people following me.
Yeah,
Okay? And I go, oh dear. Okay, so I'm a bit curious because I'm married, and I think if I click one of these, I'm going to wind up with a bride, a
yeah,
couple of brides from other countries. You know, I think, oh, okay, I won't do that. Okay. So
yeah,
some have funny names, and some of them sound a bit dodgy. You know, so you
yeah.
know, so,
It's hard. That algorithm really kicks into gear when you start clicking on stuff or liking stuff. So don't click on any Britney Spears articles because then you'll just be filled with all the Britney Spears articles you could ever want.
yeah.
Stop it. I accidentally clicked like on that one. Stop it.
I think you know what there should be. There should be a thing called TikTok lessons or TikTok for dummies. There we go.
Yeah.
TikTok.
I'm sure there are. You know, I'm always surprised with how much you can learn online. I'm sure there are YouTube videos about how to do TikTok correctly. I'm pretty sure there's TikTok channels out there that'll show you everything you need for TikTok and those really quick bite-sized pieces that TikTok's very good at.
Hmm. So anyway, so we've been talking a lot about authors and that and that. So these folks you got doing where do they live? Are they all in Irvine, California, or where are they?
Oh, my staff. No,
and,
they're. Go ahead.
and do they have day jobs?
Some of them do, some of them don't. It's a vast array of people all over the world. Um, we're based in the US. We have some staff in Canada. We have some staff in the UK. It's really all over the world. And it represents our authors, really. We represent authors from all over the world, from here in the US all the way to India, Japan, South Korea. I'm always surprised at where these authors come from and the books that we're reading. They often ask me like if I can review a book in a different language. I'm like, if I knew Hindi, I would. And don't get me started because then I'll start learning that language.
But do you find you get people who don't want to be writers but want to be readers and reviewers?
Oh yeah, plenty of people. They usually have aspirations of being a writer, right? But Mike, as you know, writing is actually pretty hard and time consuming. So although they have aspirations, they don't actually find the time to do it, or they just don't have the time for whatever reason, right? Life usually gets in the way. Dang, life always ruining my plans.
And if people want to be one of your readers, what do they do? Go to the website.
Oh yeah, they can. So they can go to our website under the About Us section. There's an application to be one of our reviewers. It's a very short application. You tell us you love books, and we'll probably call you back. I won't. My managing editor will. She manages our staff.
Oh, okay. Because and how many of them have day jobs, and how many do this full time? Do you reckon?
I can't really say because I don't know. I don't try to ask those kinds of personal questions, right? Like if they can do our job and another job is solely up to them. I don't dig too deep. We really just judge them based on their reading and writing quality. Not really reading quality. I wouldn't know how to judge them, but their writing quality and their review quality and things like that. So I'm pretty sure some of them do. Some of them probably not.
Yeah, I guess it all depends how people read a book. I mean, some of them read it like a mini series,
Yeah, some of them read it backwards. Oh wait, that's a manga. Never mind. Manga.
But you go to the last page and then go back to the front and see how they
Yeah.
got there. Yeah, that's, I always
I
find that.
remember I remember my daughter was getting me into those mangas. She's really into it. She's like, Dad, you really need to read this one. It'll change your life. So I read it, and then I was reading it as you would correctly read a book. And I was like, this story makes no sense. And she was like, wait, you're reading it backwards. You have to read it from the other right. We read left to right. You're supposed to read this one right to left, right? So start from the back. I'm like, okay. So I started from the back. And then I started reading, and I was like, how come everybody knows what's going to happen before it actually happens? Well, okay, you have to start from the back, but also don't start from the top left corner and work your way over like you would normally do. You also have to start from the top right corner and work your way over. So it's a learning curve, not everybody reads the same way.
No. So what else have you got on the go there at the moment in the current business? You mentioned the
Yeah.
reviewing and the video clips.
Yeah. So we have our book trailer service. Actually, talking about current events, tomorrow we announce our Literary Titan Book Awards for the month of March, which I would like to explain a little bit because it's a little bit behind. So what happens is you submit your book, and within 45 days, you get your review, right? So let's say you submitted your book in January, your book review was posted in February, right? Within that 45-day window. That means your book will be entered into the Literary Titan Book Awards for March, right? The upcoming month. And that usually gets posted on the first Friday of every month. And that is so that I could work myself through the weekend, taking care of everything I need to for the awards, because we have a staff here that prints custom award certificates for authors that order them. We have stickers that they can put on their book cover that go out, all manner of things. And so we noticed that posting on a Friday helps us with that kind of stuff, because then we don't have so much regular work. We could just work through the weekend and ship that out.
Okay. And then so what's on the horizon? What are you planning to do next?
So the next thing that I am really planning for and developing is a video book review. So Mike, we were just talking about how TikTok and YouTube are new formats, very engaging, right? And while we provide lots of written reviews, I think the next evolution of our service is video book reviews, where we would read your book and we would talk about what we think about it. So we're playing with some formats. And that's how I got to learn so much about video and recording and equipment and lighting and all of that stuff, because we're in the process of mastering that. And then we're going to bring that to our authors as well.
So how long would that be? I mean, most of your reviews are what, a few hundred words, aren't they? They were probably about 400
Yeah.
words.
So all of our, yeah, you're right. All of our reviews are between like 300 to 500 words. It really depends on the book, right? Like if it's a children's book, not a lot going on. There's just like a dozen words in there. Wouldn't be that long. But if you've got like a 600-page epic fantasy, there's a lot to talk about, right? So the review will be a little bit longer. But our video reviews is going to be me on camera talking. I know it's a weird idea, Mike. I think you'll be the judge of how well I am on camera, but I will read the book, and then I will have a conversation with another person about what we thought about the book. And we think that's the interesting twist that we bring, right? Because other people read a book, review it on YouTube. People do that. There's a couple of channels that you can find. But who has like a group discussion about an indie author's book, right? Not very many. And indie authors would love the opportunity to actually see people talking about their book, hear what they have to say, watch them interacting about what they just read, about what that author wrote, and now we read, and what we think about it. And it gets pretty fun and wild sometimes. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be engaging. It is something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, I find that quite interesting because when you were first talked about it, I thought someone was going to like take the book review and go,
Yeah.
I read Mike's book and I found
Mike's
it.
book is good.
I thought, well, that's going to be a bit boring. So it's going to be like well, let me give an example. So here on national radio here on a Saturday, there's a couple of book shows where they talk about books. There's normally two people on the radio and they're discussing a book.
Yeah.
You have it like that, but it'll be like
Yeah.
like in a room. So you see two people saying, and I read this book and I thought blah 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 da, da, da.
Yeah. Exactly. It'll be exactly like that. It's like a discussion, right? Because you're right. We were thinking about and we tested how it would look if one person had just read it and then was talking to the camera just like this about what they thought. It worked, but it wasn't that engaging, right? And again, there's so much more content on TikTok and YouTube that are just like that, but we try to be different. So one way we can be different is by having a conversation. So now we need two people on camera that read the same book and then now get to talk about it. The conversation can go anywhere. We could talk about all kinds of the crazy characters that Mike has in his story, right? So there's no prescribed script we would have. It would just be two people that read the same book and are talking about it, right? Much like if you were having lunch with one of your friends, you realized you read the same book and you get to talk about what you loved about it. It's that same feel, but just on camera.
Okay, because if I compare these two book radio shows, one of them is kind of erudite and they tend towards the literary books,
Yeah.
not a lot of dialogue type books, that's what I call them. But anyway, so they talk and it's all very polite and nice. The other one, brutal, that's a really like book. And this character, but this other one who features in all, it's like in every page, but it's very badly drawn. I don't even know what this person looks like. But they're hard. So I was going to submit my book to this bunch, but I'm not sure.
I don't know about that.
So you're going to say it'll be like open slather or how will you?
It's going to be
carry on.
Yeah, it's going to be an open discussion. Like I said, we don't have a script where we're going to talk about like the beginning, middle, and end. We're going to talk about the characters, and then we're going to talk about the backstory, and then we're going to talk about like the themes, right? So while we will talk about those things, it'll just happen in the normal course of a conversation. Again, like you would have with one of your friends at lunch, or you're talking about a book, right? There's no script for talking about a book with one of your friends. We're just talking about the book. We'll talk about everything from what we like and what we don't like. We're always respectful. We will not just trash it and say we hated it and then walk away. We talk about everything equally. And I love books. And I always talk to my sister about the books I read. She always talks to me about the books we read. And I find that when you get two people together that love literature, it's always like informational and inspiring and makes you want to read more about what they're reading, right? My sister reads totally different books from me, but I love hearing about how she describes those books and what she thinks about those books. And it'll make me think, maybe I want to read that book. The Midnight Library is a good example of that. I did not think that book was for me, right? I read the back and I was like, probably not. But my sister read it and we had discussion about it one day over dinner. And she convinced me that I should read it, and it was fantastic. It is one of the very few books in life that changed me personally, or at least changed my outlook on life. I highly recommend that everybody go read it. But that's what I mean. Like, even though you might not like it, it does change your view about a book when you hear it from somebody that's passionate about it, passionate about literature. And that's what we're going to be bringing to our videos is our passion for literature. And we're going to be talking about your book, everything that it usually encompasses it, characters, backstory, those kind of things. We also review nonfiction. So we'll be talking about the ideas in the books as well.
And how long will these videos be?
Yeah, so we're working with two formats right now. It'll be a 10-minute format and then a 15-minute format, although that could change depending on how things are going and how the formats are working. But right now we have those two formats. So basically, if you want a shorter discussion, go with the 10-minute format. And if you want a longer discussion, a little bit more information, a little bit more engaging, then it'll be the 15-minute option.
And will you have one where you can a video one for TikTok, like short?
Right. Yeah, we could change the format, and then we could stream it on TikTok as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Hashtag book talk.
Isn't there a limit on time on TikTok?
There is, but what we could do is we can cut it up into segments, right? So we would have to look at the video and think of like something that I said that was weird or different or interesting about your book, cut that segment out, usually like a 30-second segment, right? And then post that. What's great about a 10 or 15-minute video is that you're going to have a lot of those 30-second clips that you can make and put up on TikTok.
And would you possibly be making somebody reading the book and sticking it up on TikTok, like chapter 1?
Yeah. So we also played with that format. I did not like it. We had, everybody in our staff was looking at it. We were talking about it and testing it. I personally didn't like that because, again, I found it kind of like dry. Like if you're just going to be listening to somebody read a book, it might as well just be an audiobook or a podcast. Like, what is the video element? You know what I mean? And that's the kind of way I'm always thinking about these things. Like, we have a video element. Are you just going to stare at my face while I'm reading it? You could, I guess, but that could easily just be a podcast or an audiobook. So what's the video element? How do we get people engaged with the video element? Book trailers is an easy way, right? We use a lot of stock content, bring that together with a good soundtrack, a good voiceover, and we bring it all together and make it very engaging, right? Just video. And that's another reason why we want to have a discussion between two people so that you're looking at more than two faces or more than one face. And we insert the book cover every now and then. We insert the graphic for buy on Amazon today. And there's a lot of cuts going on, and it makes it much more engaging that way.
That word keeps coming up, engaging. How do we engage an audience? I mean, that must drive everything that you do.
It does, right? I think it drives a lot of the marketing for authors as well. Like, how do you get people to take action? The first step is getting them engaged, right? They're looking at you. You've got their attention. We were talking about how their attention span is short. And how do you get them to take action? It's so difficult. I can't tell you how to do it because it's different for everybody. You got to go out there and you got to fail. You have to fail spectacularly, because that's how you learn what does work, right? And that's how, more importantly, you learn what doesn't work.
Because I've read somewhere that, and they said, watch sitcoms. The sitcoms of like 10, 20 years ago, the seasons were very long. Now they say that's why they're down to like, they figured out that 2 to 3 minutes, they change the scene.
Yeah, scenes, and same with the jokes as well. Jokes are very punchy now, right? They got it down to a science.
But now, what are you finding now for making videos and getting people engaged? What do you think our attention span has shrunk down to?
I think it's less than 60 seconds. Definitely, that's why we make book trailers that are less than 60 seconds. We make book trailers that are closer to 30 seconds if you choose that option. So we've got a lot of different options on our book trailer order form. We even make book trailers for TV. So TV commercials are a little bit different. They have to be 30 seconds, right? You cannot go over. So we have to compress it down into that 30-second format. And what does that tell you, Mike? That television knows 30 seconds is the format, right? They force you into that 30-second format. So with that, we also have to make sure that the video quality is a little bit different, like it's a little bit higher actually, because they're streaming it over television. And it can be higher quality. If you're streaming a video over the internet through like YouTube, you actually want it to be a little bit, not lower quality, just the file size got to be lower. So we figure all of that out for you. We make a nice looking video for you. We put it on YouTube, or if you want to run a television advertisement, we can deliver the video to you as well in the right specifications for you to go ahead and submit that to a television company and have them run that advertisement for you.
There's just so many options. I want to just glaze over and think, oh, God, can I just go back?
I know. Well, remember, Mike, I've been doing this for 10 years. So after you do it for 10 years, everything it starts to make sense after a while.
like they say with what you're doing, the only constant's going to be change, isn't it? There'll
Yeah.
be another TikTok tomorrow or something.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is that you're right, TikTok changed the game, but now we see all these other platforms implementing something like TikTok. YouTube has done it. Instagram has done it, which is also Facebook. So all of these platforms are now really going to this scrolling 4x5 format, 9x16 format. So that's why we added that format to our service, because it's not just TikTok anymore, right? It's every platform.
All right, I think we're sort of out of time, guys. But to everybody who's watching, so if you go to either my Facebook page or go to YouTube and type in Mike Mackay interviews Thomas Anderson, you will see this up there now. Thomas Anderson. I made this sound like one word. Thomas, wonderful chatting to you again. Eh? I always enjoy chatting to you.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
There you go. Okay, don't go away. I'm just going to end the broadcast. Okay, see you later. Ciao.